Today we'll be learning about metaphors. You might remember that a metaphor is comparing two different things. Metaphors compare two different things. This is a bridge map. A bridge map can show how two things are different or similar, how one thing is different from the other thing, or how one thing is the same as the other thing. So you are thinking, this is the same as this. Now we're going to look at an example of a metaphor. Tom is a pig. So there are two things being compared in this sentence. Let's figure out what those are using a picture. So Tom is a pig. We don't actually mean that this boy is a pig. But we do mean that Tom is acting like a pig because he is being selfish and greedy. He is taking too much cake and there is not enough cake for everyone else. We know that the example Tom is a pig is a metaphor. We're going to use our bridge map to figure out what is being compared. First, I see two things in the sentence. I see Tom and I see pig. So I think that Tom is being called the same as a pig. Is Tom actually a pig? No, but he is acting like a pig. He is eating too much of the cake. So we would say Tom is a pig. That's a metaphor. Here's another more complicated metaphor. There are plenty of fish in the sea. When someone gets dumped, a friend might say, "There's plenty of fish in the sea." Do they mean that there are lots of fish? No, the friend is saying that there are other people to date, so they shouldn't be too sad. So let's use our bridge map to find comparisons. So with our first thing, we're thinking about the fisherman is being compared to the boy who just got broken up with. The fisherman doesn't have a fish. See how all the fish are swimming away from his line? And the boy doesn't have a girlfriend. But we know that there are lots of fish the fisherman could catch, just like there are lots of people that the boy could find and love. So, saying there are plenty of fish in the sea means that there are lots of people in the world. The butter battle is one of the stories we read this week. The butter battle is a metaphor for the space race. So remember, a metaphor compares two different things. So the butter battle is the same as the space race. To find metaphors, we need to find similarities. We need to see what is the same about the butter battle and the space race. What are the similarities and differences in the butter battle and the start of the space race? Let's use a double bubble map to find what is the same and what is different in these two texts. Remember, similarities, what is the same goes here. Differences, what is different goes here. We have the butter battle and the start of the space race that we are comparing. I know that in the butter battle, there are two sides that are competing. And I know that in the space race, there are two sides that are competing. What are the sides that are competing in the butter battle? What are the sides that are competing in the space race? If you said Zooks and Yuks, you're correct. And if you said the Soviet Union and the USA, you're correct as well. In the butter battle, the Zooks and Yuks are the two sides, and in the start of the space race, the Soviet Union and the USA are the two sides. What else is similar? What else is the same The conflict. Remember, conflict is a synonym for problem. So what is the problem in the butter battle? The problem in the butter battle seems to be different from the problem in the space race. The problem in the butter battle is that both sides, the zooks and yooks, use butter differently. One uses it on the top and one uses it on the bottom. The conflict in the space race is that both the Soviet Union and USA want to get to space first. But obviously, someone has to be first and someone has to be second if you are in a race. The last thing I can think of is that in both texts, they invent technology to hurt the other side. They make machines to hurt the other side. So the zooks and yooks, what do they make? And the Soviet Union and USA, what do they make? The zooks and yooks make guns and bombs. And in our text, the space race, the Soviet Union and USA, they make Sputnik and satellites to go into the space and try and spy on the other one and to try and get to space first. Now we are going to write metaphors using the similarities and differences we came up with in our double bubble map. The first similarity we came up with was the zooks and yooks are similar to, they are the same as the Soviet Union in the USA. So if I was going to put this on my bridge map, I would say the zooks and yooks from the butter battle are the same as the Soviet Union and the United States of America. It's a metaphor. The yooks and zooks are the Soviet Union and the USA. The competition between butter side up and butter side down represents the race to get to the moon first. So this is another metaphor we can use. So the competition between the butter side up and the butter side down is on one side, and then on the other side we would have the race to get to the moon. So these two things are similar. We can compare them to each other, so they are a metaphor. And our sentence does not use like or as, so it's not a simile, it's a metaphor. Now, what other metaphor can you find? Look down here. Think about what metaphor you can make with these two differences. The similarity is that in both texts, the sides invented technology to hurt the other side. So what metaphor could you use? So for these two pictures, the sides are inventing technology. What metaphor could you use? Here's an example. The Yooks and Zooks invent bombs and guns, similar to how the Soviet Union and the USA invent Sputnik and satellites. We're comparing those two things, so that's a metaphor. Here's our quick review. In summary, a metaphor is comparing two different things. To find a metaphor, you need to find similarities between two different things by using a double bubble map, and then write the sentence with the two different things, but don't use like or as.